So now the Juice Crew is forming.
Yes.
You guys are doing your thing.
Yes.
And then Boogie Down Productions start to have issues with y'all.
Because Boogie Down Productions wanted to be members of the Juice Crew and were not allowed.
Aha, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Okay, so KRS One and all of them actually wanted to be down with Marley Marl.
Right. They wanted to be part of the Juice Crew, and Magic took their record and broke it on air and said no. Because that's how he would tell people if they could be down or if they couldn't. So he cracked their record and was like, I don't like it, I don't like it, I don't like it. And then before we knew it, they were like, oh, so since we can't be part of the crew, we're going to go at the crew. And this is how we're going to do it. And so that's when they came in.
Okay, because then at one point, MC Shan dropped The Bridge.
Yes. And they felt that that would be the best way to attack it, would be you saying that hip-hop started out in Queensbridge, when it didn't. It started up in the Bronx. But he never said that it started out in Queensbridge. He was just telling our Queensbridge story. But that was the leeway to get in. So that was out for a few weeks before he started that part. And then he was like, okay, you know what? I think they came back. I had went out of the country. And when I came back, they were like, oh my God. See, this is before technology. So, you know, I didn't get it over there. So when I came back home, they were like, did you hear this? And I was like, what? And then I heard, dun, 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 dun. I was like, what is that? Who is that? What is that? And then when it got to my part, I was like, where are they? Who is that? You know, and they was like, that's KRS One. And that's called The Bridge Is Over. And I remember it being on tape and it was played over and over. And you know, even back then, in order to listen to something over and over and over again, actually took some power. It's not like a push of a button like everything is today. So in order to hear it over and over again, you had to take it out, rewind it, put it in, play it again. Take it out, rewind it, put it in, play it again. You know, so you're like, oh my God, we got to do something about this. So I remember getting on the phone and calling Kane. I was like, Kane, did you hear this? He was like, I know, Shante. I was like, no, you don't understand. Then I called Biz. I was like, Biz. He was like, don't worry, Shante. I was like, no, y'all don't understand. And then I think maybe a few weeks later, I bumped into KRS One at the bank. And I think he spoke about this in one of his interviews. He did, didn't he? Yeah, he spoke about his interview where I was like, I walked in the bank and I had my son at the time, because I had my son very early in life. I think I was one of the first ones to have, even though I was the youngest in hip hop, I was the first one to have a baby and literally take him on tour, put him on album covers, put him inside of magazines. And I remember being there with my sister. I think it was like one of my little sisters at the time, and we're going into the bank and I spot him. And as soon as I spot him, I'm like, hold a baby. And I'm ready to fight. Like, yeah, I was like, hold a baby. You know, and that's the Shante coming out of me. And he was like, hold up, wait a minute. I was like, nah, ain't no wait a minute now. We about to tear this bank up. You know, and because again, that's how I took hip hop.
Okay, because on The Bridge Is Over, you know, he starts naming all the different Juice Crew members. And then he gets to you, he said, Roxanne Shante is only good for steady fucking.
Exactly. And because I had a baby, y'all knew that I was fucking.
Right.
So it wasn't like I couldn't. It wasn't like, what could I say?
Right, because KRS One, he talked about that in the Beef 2 DVD, which I think you were in also.
Yes.
Right, and he said that you ran up on him at a bank.
Yes.
And you were basically like, yo, I never said your name. How you going to say this type of shit?
Yeah,
you know,
I was ready. I was ready.
And the way he described it, that he couldn't say nothing. Like all the macho bravado was just gone at that point.
Yeah, it was. It was because I expected him to say something, like to defend it, to be as raw. I expected him to speak like The Bridge Is Over. I expected him to like dee-dee-dee-da-dee-dee-dee-dee-da-dee-day. You know, I thought we was just gonna tear the bank up today. You know, like that's the way I expected it to go from that point. But he was like, "You're right. You know, you know." He truly humbled himself, and I was like, "Yeah, don't talk about me no more." Like, yeah, I walked out of there feeling like, "Yeah, that's right. Now give me the baby. Let's go."
Yeah. The thing about The Bridge Is Over is that it was kind of like the back-to-back of that day.
Yes.
You know, the Drake back-to-back, meaning that not only was it a hard diss record, but it kind of became a hit record.
Yes, it did. Absolutely. 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 And then years later, when we would perform at shows, he would get out there and he would actually try to change the lyrics. And I would pull him to the side and say, listen, you can't unwrite history. That's history right there. Get ahead out there and do it. Because, I mean, listen, if it didn't break me when I was 15, it's damn sure not going to do a damn thing to me now. So don't change it. And he was like, all right, Shani, you know, all right, Shani, I'm going to go out there and do it. Yeah, because I was like, listen, don't do that. Don't change it. That's what's so messed up about hip hop today, is because everybody is rewriting the history. Everybody is changing it. Everybody is taking this out of it and adding this or taking this away and not even putting anything else in it. So that's how come, you know, our history is being so rewritten, and we can't afford to do that. So keep it truthful and just do it how it's supposed to be done, because that's hip hop. And not only that, right. I remember being in a party, and when they would play it, when that part would come on, everybody would be looking at me, and I'd still be dancing and still be singing it, because, you know, it's hip hop.
Right. Absolutely. Now, and you actually responded to KRS on your own record.
Yes. Yes. I did respond to KRS One with Have a Nice Day, which happens to be one of the most popular records that I do when I do hostings and everything else. So, yeah.
Right. And then other female rappers started going at you. Because I think at one point, JJ Fad went at you.
Yeah.
And I guess Ice Cube was on the song also.
Yes, absolutely. You know what it was? It was in order to get into the industry or to make a mark, it was like, go at Roxanne Shante. And, you know, people like that. I had became the artist that people love to hate. And it took me a while to understand the power in that with every good guy, there's going to be a villain. And I understood that, you know, and being 15 and being able to understand that was kind of difficult at first, because I want to get on stage and I want everyone here to love me, and I want everyone here to cheer for me, and I want everyone here to be happy to see me. Like, I don't want to always be the villain that has to come out and then turn the crowd around. And there used to be a TV show on television called Dynasty, and there were two main characters, one was called Crystal and one was called Alexis. And I remember talking to my mom, and my mom was like, listen, everybody watches Dynasty. Now, people love Crystal, but they watch it more when Alexis is on. So you are the Alexis. And I was like, but Mom, if they don't like me, why are they here? She said, look at this place. And I mean, the place is packed. I mean, packed back to back. People can't get in the door. And if I'm the only person performing and no one likes me, why are they all in here? She said, because they pay not to like you.
Yeah,
and so,
absolutely.
You know, and so I kind of understood it, and then I accepted it. And because of it, you know, I've always been just Roxanne Shante. Never tried to change it to make people love me. Never tried to change it to make people like me, whether it was industry people or whatever. And now my fan base is incredible, because people understood that I stayed, because so many people can identify with being a Roxanne Shante. Like, Roxanne Shante is like when you go to a new job and you're very good at your job and nobody on the job likes you and you're trying really hard to get everyone to like you, then after a while you just say, fuck it, I'm just going to do my job. And then you start rising up in the ranks. Then before you know it, you own the company. Bam, Roxanne Shante factor. That's what you do. So people can identify with the Roxanne Shante factor. It's that factor of going in and knowing that you are great at what you do, and you don't need validation from anyone else to make you know that you are great. So you don't need the award shows, and you don't need the awards. You know, my album sales speak for themselves. You know, the way I'm sampled speaks for itself. The phone calls, the ability to work. Me even having a movie that's produced by Forrest Whitaker and Pharrell Williams that we were only going to show it one day at Sundance. The response was so incredible, they had to show it for 4 days. People were flying in from all over just to see the movie in Utah. You know, during a blizzard. People were trying to get in, catching flights just to see the movie, you know, and then there was 115 submissions. Only 13 movies were sold, and one of the movies that was sold was mine after a bidding war. You know, and we're not talking like a small bidding war. We're talking major companies bidding for the Roxanne Shante movie. So it just lets you know that that Roxanne Shante factor is a great thing to have. And sometimes we need to be able to show those who come behind us that, listen, it's okay not to be liked. It's okay not to fit in. It's okay to stand your ground and speak up for yourself and talk to people the way you need to talk to them. So that this way, they may not like you, but they will respect you. And in turn, they will support you.